Welcome back to Marshy's Corner. On today's episode, we have Overtime Maddy. Maddy, who works for Overtime, has her own podcast on TikTok. It's a micro podcast called The Burner Show. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy her show. And yeah, it was great to have her on. So a little bit of America across Australia, and we're talking hoops. I had to teach her a little bit about rugby league, obviously. But yeah, this was a fun time. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, make sure you check her out though on TikTok, on Instagram, The Burner Show, Overtime Maddy. Check her out. Go support her. What she does is great, and if you want to support me, like, subscribe, all that stuff. That stuff goes a long way. So let's get to this podcast. Thanks. Alrighty. Well, Overtime Maddy, how you going?
I'm good. Thanks.
That's good.
Thanks for calling me Overtime Maddie. Appreciate
Well,
that.
I have a few important questions. Do I
Okay.
have to call you Overtime Maddie the entire time, or can we just?
No, no, you're fine.
Okay, cool. My other important question is: so you're a big Heat fan.
Right.
How do you feel about Jimmy Butler's hair right now?
See, I don't know if I'm allowed to comment on that,
Right.
but I, it's interesting. That's all I'll say.
I'm a big Jimmy fan myself, and when I saw that, I was like, "Come on, bro, we're getting a little bit too extra now."
He's just an extra person, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, you would know more than me. So, obviously, you work for Overtime, one of the bigger sports media. Would you call it sports media companies? Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what I say when I'm like trying to explain my job to people.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Well, how about, can you tell me, how'd you get this gig? Like, what's it like? And yeah.
It is a weird story. So, originally I was planning on going to grad school after college, and I graduated in 2021, so about a year ago. Um, didn't really want to go to grad school that much because who really does? It was like right after COVID, so I wasn't really sure how the sports world was going to end up. But anyways, during that period of time when I was trying to decide, I ended up making a TikTok page with my friend, and we just like posted our NBA takes, whatever,
Yeah.
random videos. And at one point, I posted a video about how I met LaMelo Ball while I was in Australia.
Oh,
So that was,
really?
yeah. So someone from Overtime found that, who is now my boss, and he posted on Overtime's Instagram, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, Overtime. And so I was like researching like who runs these pages, whatever. Went through, found who runs the Instagram, and I like messaged them like, hey, did you post this? And they ended up being interested in our page, so they interviewed us both, and that process lasted like 3 months. And yeah, I ended up getting a job with Overtime. So it
That's pretty
was it
cool.
was a very weird process because I basically got my job off of TikTok almost.
Yeah, so there's a few questions I want to ask from that. Where'd you meet LaMelo in Australia?
That was in Wollongong.
Yep. So,
So it was like it was in a McDonald's right outside the stadium, and I was
yeah,
just
right.
stopping to get a coffee.
Wow, what were you doing in Australia? Were you just holidaying or?
Yeah, it's just a trip.
Yeah, cool. Where'd you go?
Mainly Wollongong.
All
Yeah.
right. So
Mhm.
was that to see him play over there or?
No, it was just a
No.
vacation.
Yeah,
It was
cool.
really cool. The
Yeah, sweet.
beaches were beautiful.
The beaches are nice. I haven't actually been that way. So I'm
Really.
from Brisbane, like Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah, so our beaches, I would say ours are better, but
Really.
they're
I'd
pretty
love
good
to
all
go
around.
back there, but that flight is insane. It's like over a day.
Is it
So
that long?
coming
Where?
from I lived in Indiana at the time, so I flew
Right.
out of Indiana, and it was like I think it was like 24-hour flight.
Yeah, okay. Because it's about I've been over to the States a few times, so I think it's about 16 to LAX.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. See, I had to stop at LAX and then go
yeah.
in.
It is a long trip. It's far.
Hmm.
But well, the other question I had from that was, so you started, it's the Burner Show. Hey, that's the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So I was talking to a friend about this the other day, how um in terms of podcasting and stuff, I got into it because I enjoyed listening to these long form podcasts. I like Bill Simmons.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of a running joke with some friends. I'm like, I'm gonna be the Australian Bill Simmons. Just wait.
Yeah.
Um,
Love him.
but obviously, yeah. But that's like a 2 hours, hour and a half kind of thing. Yours is like strictly like a TikTok podcast. Hey.
Right, right. So, usually I go into the studio for about an hour at a time and I'll have like a different guest on. Usually it's just my boss's boss, Tom. And so but I've been bringing guests on more recently. I brought in Anthony Hamilton. And then I also brought in this girl who's really big on NBA Twitter, Molly Morrison,
Yep.
and we filmed for like an hour, but I'd never end up posting the full hour long thing. I usually just post small little clips onto TikTok, and I could do the long form, but at the same time, like I edit all my podcast clips and it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it would take me to do long form. Maybe sometime in the future, or if I get like an editor or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so I've got a friend who's so I only just hopped on TikTok myself. I'm a little
Hmm.
bit older, and so I'm trying to basically. I've been told, Isaac, if you wanna get your podcast out there a bit more, put it on TikTok. And I can
Right,
already see the response is like way better than something like Instagram.
right.
But I keep on posting videos, and he goes, "Bro, that's too long. It's too long. It's just like you gotta cut it down, cut it
Yeah,
down."
no, it's hard. It's hard. Usually, in the beginning, I'd make my videos like 45 seconds to a minute, but people don't watch the whole videos because people on TikTok have very short attention
The
spans,
attention span's
including
not
me.
there.
Yeah, so I've been trying to make mine all like 30 seconds or less, which is very hard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just talking to another podcaster here in Australia, and she's a lot more prepared than I am. I just kind of like I'm just like whatever happens, happens. We'll see how it goes. My podcast, I'm like I'll try to keep it under 2 hours, um,
Hmm.
but it just is what it is. But she was saying, the Prime podcast goes for 20 minutes, and you want to have this many segments, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I'm just gonna throw this stuff out there, but. Um, but no, that's cool. I've enjoyed. I enjoy your page. I don't follow a lot of pages on TikTok, but your show is one of my more favorite ones.
Thank you. I
It's good.
appreciate that.
No, it's fun. It's genuinely fun. But can I get like a little background? Like, where'd you grow up? What were you like? How did you get into? What was the lead up to going? Oh, let's start this podcast because we're basketball fans, and yeah,
Yeah, it's a long process, but I grew up in Indiana, which is probably like, oh, why are you a Heat fan? So
I was gonna
my
ask that.
yeah, so my half brother and my nephew live in Florida and they got me into basketball when I was younger. And they were huge Heat fans. So I ended up just following the team that they liked, and they're of course like LeBron followers now, so they aren't even Heat fans
They jumped
anymore,
on the
but
Lakers.
yep. So I'm still a Heat fan, like the only Heat fan left in my family, but it's fine. Um, I felt like I couldn't not stick with them, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Not sticking with a team kind of
I
people
respect it.
people take that the wrong way, especially as a girl. They're like, "Oh, you bandwagon, whatever." But
Well,
anyways,
so I was gonna
go
say
ahead.
I cop a little bit of this from my friends. So being from Australia, I support my hometown sporting teams,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have family in America, and so they're all from Seattle, and so I'm actually wearing a Seahawks hat right now. But so
Oh, nice,
I
nice.
support the Seahawks, which
Don't have the Supersonics anymore,
well, this is
so.
this is the thing. So I want to support a Seattle-based basketball team. My friend, my best mate, he's a huge Lakers fan, and so he's been a Laker fan
Mhm.
since he was a kid. And he's always getting up me like, "You're." I like Steph. Steph's my favorite player. I also like
Yeah.
Jimmy. I like Jimmy Butler as well, and I like Patty Mills. They're probably like my three guys in the
Yeah,
NBA.
because Patty Mills from Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Steven
so
Adams is from New Zealand, isn't he?
he's a Kiwi. So
Hmm.
which we get grouped together a lot, but
Right.
we are different countries. But yeah, so in terms of like who I support, I'm one of those kind of bandwagon guys where it's like, well, if those guys are playing for them, I'll kind of jump on that. But I'm hoping Seattle gets a team soon.
Yeah, I feel like if the NBA is to expand anywhere, it's going to be Seattle or
Yeah.
Vegas, one of the two.
Would it be two or
Um,
would it be both? would they want to bring like one on each side of the conference? I don't know.
I don't really know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I haven't been around to see them. Well, I guess I have when I was younger, but obviously I didn't really understand much back then, but haven't really been around to see them add another NBA team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But yeah, sorry, you continue.
Oh, okay. So, I was born in Indiana, ended up going to IU, which Indiana University, not sure if you've heard of it.
No.
But it is a pretty big basketball school.
Yeah,
So
right.
we're like historically good at basketball. And we weren't that good when I went, but it's all right. My dad actually ended up being the reason that I went there because he played basketball, ran track, and played baseball at IU.
Yeah, right.
So
Athlete.
you're right, he got me very into IU at a young age. So I knew I was going to go there for like my whole life. Went there. First year, I was a stats major, which I just wanted to get into sports, didn't really know. I felt like stats could maybe help with that. I was good at math, so I was like, whatever, I'll do stats. And then a year later, I heard these people talking about how there's a sport marketing major at IU, and I'm like, what is sport marketing? That sounds like an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So I looked it up and took a summer class and ended up switching to sport marketing, which was the best decision ever. IU has an amazing sport marketing program, so I met a lot of cool people through that. Ended up working for IU Athletics as a student ticket sales representative, I think late my sophomore year or early junior year. Interned at Grand Park, which is a sports campus in Indiana where they host the Colts training camp.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And after that, I ended up interning for the Colts as a marketing and summer camp intern. So I did a bunch of stuff with the Colts. And after that, that's when I ended up with this job. So it was a really, really nice path.
Yeah, that's cool. So the I guess the burner show, like your podcast you started, was that just you're like, oh, let's just do that for fun and
So people in my office actually like pushed me to do it.
right.
It was like mainly my managers who pushed me to do it, and I was really scared too because I had never been on camera before.
This was
So like,
was this pre overtime?
no, this was during overtime.
Oh,
So
this
I
was
didn't have
during
a
sorry.
podcast and yeah,
Sorry.
so I
Okay.
didn't have a podcast until I started working for overtime. And I honestly never thought that I'd have a podcast. Like I love talking about basketball, but I never really saw myself having a podcast. And some of my coworkers were like, "You would do an amazing job doing this, and so would your friends." And I was like, "All right, do it." And did the first few filmings were rough because I was very nervous in front of the camera,
Yeah.
but it got a lot easier as time went on.
It's certainly something different having the camera there as well and
The lights are so bright in the
yeah.
overtime studio too. I was very overwhelmed.
Are there people watching you do it? Or
There's
are
like
you able to kind of just like have your own space?
sometimes people will come in to watch, but other times, like for the most part, it's like empty in there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
nice.
it's not too intimidating.
That's the biggest thing. Like even if like my housemate walks out while I'm doing a podcast, I'm like you kind of like lose the fact that you're there and then you kind
Right.
of like don't judge me right now. I don't know what I'm
Right.
saying. Yeah. Um,
Exactly.
no, that's cool though. That's cool. So from the start, were you like, let's just do the short form, or did you kind of record and then you started breaking it up and you're like, this could be fun short form, or where'd the
So,
idea to go short form? I guess that's what
yeah.
overtime is though, right?
Right. So overtime basically came up with this idea to do micro pods is what we call them. And so
Mhm.
we just do like very short form podcasts. And some of the people I work with have long form versions of them, but most of us just do short form. And it makes it pretty easy when there's like breaking news. You can just go into the studio,
Yeah,
record for a little bit, and then post that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's kind of why we did that.
yeah. Cool. So let's talk about like your job at overtime. So what exactly is your role and
Yeah, it's a lot.
it,
So, I started out as social media coordinator and talent is what my job title was.
okay,
And recently I got promoted to associate social media manager, is what it's called.
yeah, right.
And for my job, I help run Overtime's TikTok, which just hit 20 million followers, which
That's
is
crazy.
awesome. Yeah. And I help run our Snapchat too. I post half of our Snapchat stories. Help run Discord actually, which is a
Okay.
very yeah. I started doing that a few months ago and I'm still trying to get the hang of it. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I haven't
But
entered that world yet.
it's a very different world. So I help out with that, and then I come up with topics for my podcast, edit, produce everything. What else do I do? Mainly just like whatever they need me to do too,
Yeah.
because they're just we do so many things at overtime that everyone needs to jump in and help each other out, and
Yeah.
everyone is very willing to do that. So it's a great place to work
Yeah, I
for
was gonna
sure.
say, what's like the environment like? It must be fun, right?
It's so fun. It's awesome, especially because we all like work really close together. So like all the social team is at one table and then like there are different huge desk areas that other teams work at, and it's just very easy to be like, I have this idea, can I or can someone help me with this, blah blah blah. Like it's and everyone's so nice and funny and very creative, so it's such a cool environment.
Yeah, cool. So I've seen just recently, like you've gone to New York Fashion Week, NBA Draft, like the Crew League, like all these sorts of things. Like, what is it like? Kind of just was it when you first started going to events like that? Was it kind of like just like a oh my god, like I'm kind of here? Did you have like an oh my god, I'm a here moment? Like I know athletes kind of have
Yeah.
that when they enter the league, but what was your like oh my god, like I'm here doing this, working for overtime?
No, I started getting invited to these events kind of recently, so like probably within the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
And I'd say my like oh my God moment was when I was at the NBA draft, because I watched that since I was a kid and I
yeah,
was like I never thought I'd be there. Um so that was definitely the biggest like shock moment, especially because we were sitting like right behind all the players about to get drafted. Got some really cool footage of that. But yeah, that still one of my favorite events I've been to. But Crew League too. Crew League, walking in there, seeing like 21 Savage, Waka Flocka, all these people who I've been listening to since I was younger.
yeah, yeah.
I it was just unreal. And I still every time I do anything like that, I am shocked. And New York Fashion Week too, I was shocked to get that invitation. Everyone's like, Maddie, you're going to all this cool stuff. Why are you shocked? I'm like, I do not expect to be going to these at all. Um, so Fashion Week I got to go to. There's a WNBA player who has a brand out,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's an
Who's
amazing brand.
which player?
So okay, I can't remember her last name. Um, and I'm worried that I'll pronounce it wrong. So I don't want to mess that up. But um her name's Christine. I think her last name is pronounced Anigwe. Don't want to
Okay,
mess
yeah.
that up, but she has this company called KA Originals, and she also styles Brittany Griner, not Brittany Griner. Oh my gosh. She styles Skylar Diggins. And
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, so Skylar Diggins has some amazing fits.
Yeah.
But the reason why I said Brittany Griner is because she at one point during the fashion show had a Brittany Griner jersey
I saw that
one of
actually.
her models, and it was really cool.
Yeah. No, that Brittany Griner, we see the story about that at the moment. So that's obviously that's something that's pretty big over there right now.
Right. Yeah, very
Yeah,
big.
yeah. So just with like NBA draft and all these things, has there been a player or like you go to the crew league? Is there a rapper? Has there been a moment where you're like, I was a bit too much of a fangirl just then, or have
When
you
I
kept
met
it? Have you
Jimmy
kept it
Butler,
cool? Oh yeah,
well, okay, for the most part, I have kept it cool. But when I met Jimmy Butler, I was not. There's a whole video of it. I was like way too excited, and I was, I was like, I embarrassed myself. But for the most part, I've been pretty calm. I really wanted a picture with 21 Savage at Crew League, but
yeah.
did not end up getting one. And I feel like I was really annoying about talking about that, because I was like, I really want a picture with him, and all my coworkers were like, relax.
I mean,
But
it's fine. Like to have for me when I see professional athletes and stuff out here, for the most part, it's like yeah, I'll keep it cool. But there's like two or three that if I saw them, I was like, no, I need to get a photo with that guy. Like that's like someone that I
Right.
grew up with, and yeah,
That's how I was with Waka Flocka even. Like I grew up with Waka Flocka
yeah,
mostly.
yeah.
So I had to get a picture with him. And then Jimmy, of course, obviously I took a picture with him. I needed a picture with Jimmy Butler.
Fair
That's
enough.
my guy. But if in the future, if I meet LeBron, I do not know how I'm gonna react because
That's
he
someone.
is I can't even put into words how I'll react. Like he is my biggest role model, everything. So
He may be. I mean, that's a good choice of a role model, but
mm,
like maybe the best basketball player of all time. Never been in the headlines for anything,
right.
and just, I mean, outside of the decision, but which
Hmm.
you were obviously pretty happy about that decision.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, there was nothing negative about that for you. So I was, you know, what's funny is I actually remember where I was when LeBron made the decision. So
Yeah.
I was away on a basketball camp. We were playing in, I think it was Geelong. So we had to fly out to this basketball tournament, and this was like before our phones had internet, or like you wouldn't really use your phone.
Right.
And
No, I was only 10, so I don't even know where I
yeah,
was. Like it
yeah,
was not a
exactly.
huge I was literally a kid.
Yeah, I would have been in high school, but so we're out there, and there was this and so it was the off season, and it was, you know, NBA off season is one of the most exciting things, and
Right.
there was just this little, like at this like really cheap hotel we were staying at, there was this dodgy ass computer, and we were every day at the end of the day we'd find some like coins. You have to pay some coins to be able to use it, and we'd sit
Yeah.
there. It would take like 10 minutes to load the NBA headline, like front page, and so we're sitting there, NBA.com, just sitting there waiting, waiting. And then like one of my mates, huge Miami Heat fan, and it's like
Really?
scrolling down and we can see the top of LeBron's head. And we were like,
Oh
oh,
my
it's happened.
gosh.
It's happened. And then it goes down. It's like LeBron's joined the Heat. He's run outside. He's like, oh my God. We're all
Yeah, and the
sitting there.
timing
That's
for that
crazy.
was probably so weird for you guys because of how
Uh,
the time zone is so different.
yeah. So like, I mean, we usually, I've got a fair few friends that are really big basketball fans. And
Hmm.
so a lot of the time we'll be waking up and it's just all our feeds is the news of what's just happened. And
Right, right.
for like the Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs, that was
Hmm.
like, we woke up to that and just things like that. But it's kind of fun because you wake up and now it's like, that's what you're talking about. Like I'm calling my mate as I'm driving to work, and
Right.
yeah, nah, it's
Oh,
fun.
that's awesome.
Um, oh, what do I have so many questions I want to ask. Oh, who's the best rapper, Hooper wise, that you've seen?
Hooper, okay.
And what's the crew
So
league like? What's the vibe like there?
it was interesting. I couldn't decide between like Quavo and Ellie Chapa. They're both pretty good athletes. But I thought Waka Flocka would be going harder because he's like 6'5",
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he wasn't going too hard. Um, the atmosphere there was just crazy. Like they were a closed event, so only like the rappers' guests and then media could come in, and so it wasn't like fans going super crazy or anything. It was pretty quiet,
yeah,
which was kind of weird. Like people would be walking out and there were not really any claps. Um, but it was hosted at Overtime Elites Arena. So that was really, really cool.
yeah. Right.
So I got to just be on the court all the time because of that. And it was so cool. Um, the games would last like I'm trying to remember all the rules because they have very, very different rules for Crew League. And when I made my video, I mentioned that like every single time someone got fouled, a rapper had to shoot the free throw.
Yeah, right.
So literally anytime anyone got fouled, it'd be like, okay, 21 Savage is coming to the line.
Could any of
And
them not shoot free throws?
yeah, most of
You're
them
just
were
sitting
not
there,
very good.
just
It
hacking
was
them.
a lot of the games took way longer than needed to because they were not great at shooting free throws.
Yeah, right, right. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, did you play yourself? You didn't mention that.
In the Crew League
No, no,
or
do you play? Did you play like in high school and
I
everything?
so before high school I played. So I played in intermediate school is what was called for me, and then middle school, but I stopped right before high school and realized I like watching a lot better than playing because I Had no handles. I could shoot, but that's it.
All you need is shooting.
Right.
That keeps you going. If you can shoot, you can
Facts.
play for a long time.
I know. I get upset that I did not continue because I could have just worked on my handles and
Yeah.
whatever. But
But the thing, and this is like a part of what I want to do with this is, the majority, 75% of my podcast is talking sports and stuff. And the thing about sports is it doesn't work. Obviously, the athletes are the most important part, but it doesn't work without people like yourself that go, oh, I like to watch, I like to talk about it.
right.
I've got a friend who's he was a manager in over here in the Australian League. Then he became the Boomers, like the Australian team manager, and then
Hmm.
he's gotten a job. He did the season with the Utah Jazz, and so like even like learning, I had him on the podcast, and I didn't even really know what I was going to talk to him about being like an equipment manager and things like that. And then when you find out like how intricate that job is to make sure he's like, yeah, like you need to make sure this towel is
Yeah.
ready. Like the player doesn't want to be sitting there going, "Where's my water?" And like it
Right.
should just be in their hand. And when you think about that, like how much goes into all the sports that we love being as big as they are, like you're having a huge part of that.
No, even back when I was a Colts intern, I was like, I do not know if this training camp could run if all these interns weren't here because we set everything up. So there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize. And then like for my job, I help get content out there. So I record a lot of stuff with my phone, get it posted immediately. And without me, a lot of people wouldn't see a bunch of stuff that goes on in the sports world. So
Exactly.
yeah.
No, and we're now living in a world where it's like if you're 5 minutes late posting something, like someone else has already posted it.
Exactly. And overtime likes to be the first every time. So
Yeah,
we try to be really fast.
you guys must be pretty close to first every time.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Um,
of us have like a million notifications on all this like different lists on Twitter to keep up. It's crazy.
okay, so talk about overtime. I have an idea proposal for you.
Okay.
Okay. I was here. I was looking at overtime. I was doing a little bit of research when I heard you were coming on, and I was sitting
Hmm.
there and I just looked up overtime and then accounts on Instagram. Now there's overtime, Spain, India, France.
Right.
There's all these countries. I don't see an overtime Australia.
Yeah. And our
What's going
editor's
on with
from
that?
New Zealand.
And here's the thing with overtime Australia. Like I mean, not only like Josh Giddey, Paddy Mills,
Hmm.
you know, all these guys that are over there from our Australian team. We just won bronze, so we're doing all right.
Right. No, Australia's had some great basketball players,
Yeah.
especially in the past few years, even.
Yep.
Like,
And guys like Ben Simmons haven't even suited up for us yet, so it could get
that's
even
true.
better.
I forget that Ben Simmons is from Australia sometimes.
I don't want to throw like any shade on his name, but when you
No,
ask someone over here about Ben Simmons, it's kind of like it doesn't really feel like he's Australian.
really.
He just every single tournament like is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Obviously, he
Mhm.
went to Brooklyn. Paddy Mills is there, and Paddy's like when it comes to Australian basketball, like Paddy is like the guy.
Right,
Um,
right.
like he just turns into something different when he puts that Aussie jersey on.
No, I have said this many times. I went to a Nets game a few months ago. I'm trying to think of when that was. It was like probably around December.
Yeah,
And I told everyone, I'm like, watch out for Patty Mills. He is a secret weapon for these teams. Like every team he's been on. When he was on the Spurs, oh my goodness.
yeah.
But
I mean, as a
he
Heat
I
fan, you'd know what he could do.
yeah, so I told everyone, I was like, watch out for him. And he ended up going off that game. It was like a career night for him, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember one year he was off contract, and there was talk that he was going to sign with the Knicks, and
hmm
I was really excited for that because obviously he played within that Spurs system where it's a very much a system where everyone is touching the ball a lot. But I thought that if he
yeah.
went to the Knicks, he'd have an opportunity to really just kind of shine a little bit and show what he could do because
Yeah.
I'd seen what he'd do on the international stage and stuff. And I remember back when he played for Portland, if there were times where Damian Lillard was out injured, Paddy would come out and he'd have like 36 and 8. and just
right?
be killing it. But he is very.
No, there are a lot of players like that. I
That's the
feel like
thing.
if they go to either a smaller market team or a team that doesn't have a huge star, they could be the big
Exactly.
star.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But no, what Paddy does for Australia, he's pretty. We all love him over here, but Ben Simmons, we're just kind of like, we'll forgive him if he puts the jersey on and plays. Like, happily forgive him. But at
Yeah,
the moment, there's a bit of a sour taste.
I get
Um,
that for
yeah,
sure. So how
but
were you guys when LaMelo was playing in Australia? Were people like hype about that?
yeah. So this is what I'm gonna say. Like, we don't have an overtime Australia. Not only do we have all
Mhm.
these guys, but we also have guys like Lamelo Ball come out. There's
Yep.
talk that Bronny might be coming out.
Mm.
But yeah, no, Lamelo when he came out, no, it was definitely hype. Like all of a sudden, like everyone was wearing Hawks #1 jerseys.
Yeah.
Like those were
When
coming out
I met
everywhere.
him, so he hadn't played a game officially for the
Right.
Hawks yet. So when I met him, I was the only one who noticed him. And I was the only one to ask for a picture. And I was like, what is going on?
Well,
But
he didn't play for a major team. That's the thing.
yeah.
He played for a decent team. Like
Well,
they're
he
renowned.
owns the Hawks, doesn't he now?
Does he
Or
actually? He
I
might.
knew he I knew he bought a team. I thought it was the Hawks. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not sure. He might have.
I
Um,
think he does.
yeah, but when there was rumors swirling that might be coming to the NBL, I was obviously like, well, I hope he comes to Brisbane. That'd be cool.
Hmm.
We just got Aaron Baines. He's made his comeback, so he's playing for
Okay.
Brisbane, and we also just got
Oh, Aaron Baines, he's the ginger, really tall
yeah,
ginger.
yeah,
Yes.
big, like real big
He's been
fellow,
out.
got the beard.
Yes. Yep,
So
yep.
he's got one of the weirdest stories because he was playing at the
He was
Olympics. Do you
ill,
know?
wasn't he? He got
Uh,
ill.
yeah, but he fell and he like fractured like his spine or something like that, and he was out for ages. And this is the thing. I'm not gonna make it a competition, but we were obviously playing America in that semi-final game,
Okay.
and we were up 16 at halftime. And then in the second half, you guys out rebounded us so badly, and we were missing Aaron Baines. And I was like, man, if we had him, maybe we would have been playing for a gold. But
Mhm. I didn't realize
we'll
he was
never
back to
know.
playing again. I
Yeah,
knew he was out and he looked pretty weak for a bit. So
yeah.
I didn't realize he was playing again. That's good.
No, but we also just signed. Used to play in the NBA. What is his name? That's so bad of me for forgetting.
It's okay.
Um, but yeah, we're all pretty excited over here in Brisbane to watch some of these games. What is his
So
name?
here in the US, honestly don't watch cup games that often. Um, it's mainly like we'll watch the Olympics when they're playing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll watch basketball, but I followed it through Twitter and saw everything that happened. I thought France was gonna win, but
yeah, yeah. Are you talking about the Euro Cup that was just on?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Does
yeah. We
Australia
no,
end up
we're not in
no.
that one. No, no.
Okay.
But no, yeah, we just signed Tyler Johnson.
Oh, he was on the
Yeah,
Heat for
he
a
was on the
bit.
Heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's just come over and they've just started playing and stuff, and he's looking pretty good for us. So he's shifty as and
Nice.
yeah.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, this is my pitch. I was like, overtime, you need an overtime Australia, and also if you guys obviously have like you guys follow Gridiron, like the NFL, the
Hmm.
NBA. You've got the FC, you got the soccer.
Hmm.
We have a sport here in Australia.
Rugby?
So it is rugby. But there's two versions of rugby. There's rugby
Okay.
union, and rugby union it's kind of a dying. It's played a little bit more internationally. The rugby league is on the come up. Rugby union
Gotcha.
it's kind of becoming a little bit boring. The people that run it, like they're real old heads. The marketing behind it is
Like
not great.
baseball here.
Yeah, right. But the rugby league, it's a lot more. It's a lot more younger. They've got like the backing behind like social media and all this sort of stuff, and it's become like a real thing. And if overtime was looking for a sport to cover, basically it's just guys, no pads, running at each other for 80 minutes. There's no stoppages. It's pretty crazy. But you guys like cover everything that's. I'm bringing this up because a lot of my listeners are rugby league fans. So,
Yeah.
um, but you guys obviously cover stuff outside of the game itself, and we
Hmm.
have a lot of like, I would say Australian athletes are like larrikins. Do you know what that means? Like the word
Uh-uh.
larrikin. So it's just
No.
like kind of like very cheeky and funny and very like
Gotcha.
Yeah, and they get in a lot of trouble, and so our athletes are constantly getting in trouble, having fun. We
Hmm.
have like an all-star game where it's so you guys have like East versus West. We
Yeah.
have New South Wales versus Queensland, and
Okay.
but it's not fan voted. It's like the coaches pick the teams, and it's not where you're playing right now. It's where you're born, and so you represent your state.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
you
cool.
know how the NBA All Star Game is kind of like pretty chill.
Yeah, and we just recently, like the past 2 years, switched up the rules
It's
so that
gotten
it's a lot
better.
more intense. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, even then, it's still like no one's trying to get hurt, no one's trying to get injured.
Right.
In our like All Star game, we call it State of Origin. We play three
Hmm.
games. It's best of three, and like so you'll have like two teammates that play on the same club team together, but they're from different states, and like you've got these guys like literally like trying to hurt each trying to hurt each
Oh
other,
yeah.
and it's in the
Yep.
middle. It's in the middle of the season, so it's like
Oh wow, yeah.
they'll literally like a fight will start on the Wednesday and then on Sunday they're playing together again. It's
Wow.
crazy. It's a
That's
lot of
wild.
fun. It's a lot of fun. But the best story I have from that is uh, our first season back. So the rugby league was actually the first professional sporting league to come back after COVID in the world.
Okay. Yeah, no, no, that I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we put that state of origin event on at the end of the year. And
Hmm.
Queensland, from where I'm from, our best player, his team, Melbourne, he plays for Melbourne. They
Hmm.
won. They won the premiership. He played really great. Then they put because of COVID, they put state of origin at the end of the year. So it was like a
Hmm.
week after. Our best player, he was out celebrating. There was a lot of footage of him very much enjoying the premiership he just won, the championship that he just
Yes.
won. He called the state of origin coach, and so in our league, like we obviously love a premiership and stuff, but state of origin is like the pinnacle. Like so, our All Star
Hmm.
game is like the pinnacle of like what the sport is. He called the coach and asked if he could come to camp 3 days late because he wanted to continue bendering. He wanted to continue bending with the
Oh no,
team,
it's
and
like type of like Dennis Rodman almost.
exactly. Except we've got a whole league of them. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
but yeah,
I do love those types of stories. So
yeah. So if overtime's ever looking to expand their borders, I'm telling you
I
guys.
feel like so our editor, his name's Sammy. He's
Yeah,
amazing. Does the cool I don't know if you've seen overtime edits, but he is
I
incredible
have.
at his job. You have so he lives in New Zealand and is gonna move out here. And I feel like he's probably pushed a good amount
There you go.
for us
That's
to
good.
make an Australian page. But we've really expanded. Like we have France,
Yeah.
Africa, Spain, all of these
Well,
countries.
that's the thing. When I looked up overtime, I was expecting to see like three or four pages, and it was just like it was
So
going
many.
down. And then
Yeah.
I saw overtime India, I was like, surely there's an overtime Australia.
It'll if we do make it, it'll be like overtime Aus for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
AUS, yeah. But I don't really know
Or
why we don't
just
have one.
overtime down under or something like that.
Yes. Yep. Under time over something like that.
So while we're talking about Australia, I had a little game for you.
Okay.
And so just before you didn't know what a larrikin was,
Yes.
I was gonna play guess the Australian slang.
Okay. I know some. I
You know
know
some.
a lot more British slang because of Love Island. I never watched the Australian Love Island, but
Neither have
I
I,
should.
if I'm honest. um, oh, where's my list going? Oh, I had so many, I didn't know what to do. Me and my housemate were like, oh, like which one should we pick? All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. If I was, sorry, what is the act of doing a shoey?
Could not tell you. Maybe putting on a shoe.
Have a guess. Putting on a shoe.
Yeah, don't
So
know.
what a shoey is you take your shoe off and you pour like a beer into it or like a drink and then you
That
drink it.
sounds extremely Australian.
I don't know what you mean by that, but so like if like I think we had like a race car driver, he did it. It kind of became a thing around like parties and stuff, and then an Aussie race car driver, he won some race.
Was
I don't
is
really
it
follow.
F1? Was it
Potentially, it
F1?
might have been. I don't
Okay.
follow any sort of any of that.
Neither do I.
But he like poured it in his shoe and did it, and everyone was like, and now like footy players do it after winning and things like that. So
Okay,
that's a shoey.
gotcha.
The next time you do that at a party, everyone will be like,
All right,
"What?
yeah, I'll
What
make
the
sure to do
hell?"
that.
I feel like it's one of those things. A lot of like me and my friends are talking about it, like we've all seen someone do one, but it's not like
Hmm.
everyone does them. I've done one once just for the experience, but it's kind of gross.
Nasty.
It is nasty. Um, oh, sorry, I'm gonna use some profanities for this one, but
Okay.
if I was to say
Is
I'm
it the
not,
C word?
no, it's not.
Because
But
I know
that
Australians use that a lot.
we do. It's actually a term of
Yeah.
endearment over here.
I know. There's like there I remember they had like it's an adjective used before that. I don't know, but
Was
it's really it
Is
is
it?
not a good word here.
Is it? Is it a six
Sick,
C? A
sick.
six C?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So it's almost like more offensive. Like if someone was to be like, oh, I'm trying to think. If someone was to be like, hey champ or hey buddy,
Hmm.
that's like almost more offensive than like, what's
That's
up?
so weird.
It
So
is
weird. It
weird.
is
It's
such an
weird.
offensive word here. Like
The
so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't a. It was a very. I mean, it's still fairly offensive here. Like, but if
I heard
you're,
everyone saying it when I was there.
yeah, no, it comes out a lot. I'm not going to use that word though.
Okay, cool.
Um, if I was to say I'm not here to fuck spiders, what would I mean by that?
Not here to do something outlandish. I don't know. I don't know.
No, all that means is I'm not here to muck around. So if you came somewhere and it was like, oh, let's get straight to doing this work, it would be like, yeah, I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Okay. Yeah, that I feel like that's kind of where I was getting to.
Yeah, you were getting there. It was coming. Um, can you use the word struth in a sentence?
Truth. All I'm thinking about is Max Struess on the Heat. I cannot think of anything with Struth. No, I
No,
have no
nothing.
idea.
You want to
No.
take a guess?
Truth. That sounds like sleuth. Um, I Struth the information. I don't know. Okay.
It's like an exclamation point. So it'd be like, oh, struth, that was a great game.
What? Struth. Like true.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of. No, not really, actually.
No.
I
All
don't know.
right. I
Um,
need to learn this stuff.
well, yeah. If you're gonna come back here, if you're gonna make that 24-hour flight,
Right. Yeah.
um, what if I was to use the term grouse? Is that a good or a bad thing?
It sounds bad, but I feel like since it sounds bad, it's good.
Yeah, it is good. You're like,
All
oh, that's grouse.
right. That's grouse.
All right, I
That
got
sounds
one
like
more.
gross.
I got
All
one more
right.
for you. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a sentence, and you gotta tell me what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's stop at the servo so I can get my thongs out of the boot.
Thongs is flip-flops.
It is
Right. Yes. So stop at the server so I can get my
servo.
thongs out of the boot.
Servo.
Servo?
Yeah,
Is that a car?
servo. That's kind of
Yeah, is
close.
that a
That's close.
is
So
it
there's
like let me stop to get my shoes out of the car or something?
yeah, basically it's the servo's a petrol station. So can we stop at a petrol
Oh,
station so I can get
okay.
my thongs out of the boot? The boot's the trunk. There you go.
I
You did
feel like
well.
I got that
You
one.
nailed that one.
That one I did the best on
No,
for
you
sure.
definitely did. You definitely did. Um, hey, I just want to say thank you for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. Your
Um,
DM was so nice when I saw it.
I don't even remember what I said, but I mean,
It was
I
something
enjoy your
about how
show.
you love the show, and I was
Yeah,
like, that's nice. I like to get those messages. So
no, it's definitely fun. I've got a couple of questions just to finish off. They're basketball related.
yeah,
Um,
nice.
who do you think is winning MVP this year?
MVP, last year I thought it would be Embiid. So I honestly like he's always been second in the
He
running for
is,
MVP. So I feel like this year it could be him.
and
He's
Philly.
he is
No,
go
yeah,
ahead.
no. I was just gonna say Philly's stacked their side up a little bit, like they've buffed up around him.
Exactly. So I feel like Embiid will probably be the front runner.
Embiid,
I don't know.
there's a chance. So as I was growing up, I always liked Chris Paul, and I was like
Hmm.
every year I was like, I think this is the year Chris Paul wins MVP, and
Oh
I
no!
was on that for about 5 or 6 years, and it just never
Right?
happened. Hopefully Embiid's not that one.
Yeah, no. But I'm thinking Embiid. I was very shocked when Jokic won twice in a row. But
Yeah, no, he that was kind of a late surge too. It was all kind of close, and then I don't
hmm
even know how you pick like between him, Giannis, Embiid.
no, it's so hard. They're all dominant big men. I don't know how
Yeah,
you pick between them, but
no idea.
I'm going Embiid this year.
It's a
We'll
good
see.
pick.
Last year I did so I near the end I was like, all right, I feel like it's gonna be Embiid. But for a while I even made a bet that it would be Ja, but
Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. Jokic's first MVP. I was pretty happy with that one. A I put a $20 bet on him to win MVP when he was paying like $40, and then like it just like kept on rolling, rolling. The year went on, and I was sitting there looking at it like, oh, he's down to like $5, and that was pretty exciting for me. I
Good.
claimed that one around the
Good.
boys all year. I have a feeling I know how you're going to answer this one, but who's winning the chip?
Okay, so we didn't make many moves this offseason, but I feel I I'm gonna say Heat just because I'm biased, but God, I don't even know. There's so many stacked teams now. I feel like this year is the year of just like crazy stacked teams. This past year was too. Especially like looking at the Hawks. Now they have DeJounte,
Yeah.
Trey, and John Collins all together. Like I don't
Every
even know
team's
who's gonna
good.
be good. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm putting down the Miami Heat money line per usual.
I don't think it's bad. Honestly, is there anyone? I was talking to my friend about this who doesn't love Jimmy Butler as much as me.
Really?
But I was
I
like,
love Jimmy.
yeah, Jimmy. I'm a big Jimmy guy. Do you watch his vlogs or when he was doing those
Yeah,
vlogs?
no, sometimes I do watch his vlogs.
I love those vlogs.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Whenever I'm sick, I'm like, I wonder if Jimmy's put any vlogs out, which he hasn't done for a while. But
He did one
oh, he
when
did.
he was like he went to a concert or something and like helped the artist or something. I don't even know. It was
I
like a
haven't seen
country
that one.
music concert, but yeah, I saw that the other day. I don't think he did a vlog with his new hair, like talking about that, but he posted a lot about
Yeah, he
that
did.
haircut.
Um, no, but I was going to say, like, is there anyone you'd rather? How many people in the league would you rather have on your team than Jimmy Butler in a playoff series?
See, that
That's
I would never give up Jimmy, especially not playoff Jimmy. He is an animal, and people saw that this past year. Like
well,
the man was
this past year,
carrying.
yeah,
Yeah.
this past year the bubble as well though.
Oh yes, of course the bubble, but this past year he I feel like the year before people were kind of doubting the Heat. Um, but he honestly like he just carried us.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially in oh my gosh, people were getting so mad about his last shot and I was not that mad about it. Like I know it wasn't a great idea, but at the same time like he was carrying us this whole season. Like I I do not blame him for wanting to take that last shot.
yeah. Well, I was on the phone to a friend straight after that shot, and when as he was shooting it, I will not lie, I was like Jimmy,
No,
like
I know, me too.
yeah,
I was with a ton of people and everyone was looking at me because I was the only Heat fan. And oh my goodness, I was like, Jimmy, no, 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 no. But he was exhausted at that point. He
that's the
literally was
thing,
playing the entire game.
and that's a
So,
great point. I feel like so many people have something to say, and so many people haven't even stepped on a basketball court before. And this is the thing:
right.
is like when you're going downhill towards the rim, and there is someone there, and you've played almost every minute of every game for what was that the third round of the
That was
playoffs?
the Eastern Conference
Yeah,
Finals.
so third round of the playoffs,
Hmm.
and you've got a wide open three, and you're Jimmy Butler. Like you're obviously going to trust yourself to shoot a wide open shot. So in
It was
hindsight,
just like one of those moments you're like,
yeah, yeah. But it's an open shot. You can't knock an open shot, and
right.
they were shot away from going to the finals. They were my tip for the going to the finals, and
Yep,
I wouldn't
yep.
have known who to support because I'm a big Steph guy. I'm a big Jimmy guy, and you know Steph. I really wanted to see him win one that people couldn't take away, because I hate the fact that people feel like they can take stuff away from people.
Yeah,
Like,
especially because he didn't have a Finals MVP before this past year, which
yeah,
was insane to me.
he
But
should have had the one in 2015, and
yeah,
but like
that
it
was the
is.
Iggy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It is what it is. I mean, I've like all my friends hate Steph because I love him so much, and they always bring up that, and I'm like, he led the team in scoring. He's the best player in all the games that they won in that series. He played really well. In the games that they lost, he didn't play well. So doesn't that
Hmm.
make him the MVP if like when you play well, your team wins? I don't know. That's just me.
Right.
But
No, yeah,
it
I
is
get
what
it.
it is.
Everyone was very, very confused at that
Yeah.
MVP. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't blame you.
It created a narrative though for everyone to talk about. But
Right.
yeah,
Also,
but
with Jimmy being replaced, I never want to replace Jimmy. I want him to ride out his contract, and I want him to stay on the Heat as long as he can.
retire.
Yeah.
He could just take over Udonis's spot.
Right. Right.
He'd be the
But
perfect Udonis Haslam replacement.
mhm. Yeah, I love that our like main move this off season was UD is staying.
And so it should be.
That's our biggest move. Yeah, Jimmy's staying, but we knew that. And then, oh my gosh, I did want Donovan Mitchell really bad at one point.
Yeah.
But that clearly did not happen.
No, those Cavs are loaded.
Mm-hmm.
They look
They
good.
really are.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, no, well, for me, my MVP pick, I think it's going to be Luca. I think
Yeah.
if he can play well, and
Luca's always a good choice.
yeah, no, I do like Luca. I'm my old school favorite player, like the guy that I never watched, but I watched their highlights, is Larry Bird, and I feel like Luca's kind of a little bit of a
Yeah.
second coming of that. And then
Similar.
and I appreciate a guy that's not athletic. 'Cause that
Right.
was me growing up.
Right.
Someone's gonna be a little
Well,
bit.
you probably like Jokic too then, because he was a
Yeah,
little
but
chubby back in the
I'm a guard though, so but I enjoy, like, Steve Nash was like my guy when I was growing up. I was like, oh,
day.
a
Okay.
guy that can't jump and can shoot and dribble a little bit. I love this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
um,
Another guy that some people in the overtime office have been talking about this because everyone's obsessed with him, but Zion, since he's making a return,
yeah,
maybe he could, but
exciting.
he'd probably get MIP over MVP. Would he even get MIP since he hasn't played in over a year? I don't know.
Well, the MIP last year kind of pissed me off. The Ja Morant, like,
Yeah.
he's already he's just a stud already, like he's already
Mhm.
that good. And but I mean, I think, did he jump up like something like 7 points a game? I don't know. He obviously
Yeah.
got better, but his team also kept on winning when he wasn't there. He missed a bit
Right.
of
No,
time.
that was a very weird period of time when Jaw was out because
Yeah,
the Grizzlies kept winning without Jaw. And I
and
was like, do they need him that bad?
and so this is something with the NBA that I think is different to other sporting leagues, because the NBA, obviously, like, you can see their faces. It's a very like the player is almost their own brand, is almost their own team
Right.
in themselves, which is a cool
Hmm.
thing. Um, but it kind of like, if a team plays well without their best player, then it's kind of like a reflection on that player. Like, oh, is he that good?
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
Hmm.
It should be more just like, oh, this team that worked
Is a
together in the
solid
summer is
team.
a solid
Yeah.
team, and in, for example, rugby league, like a sport that I love over here, if a best player goes out injured and then the team keeps on winning, no one talks about what's the worth
Yeah.
of that
So
great
how many
player.
guys are on the field on during rugby games?
13. So there's 13
Okay.
aside, which is obviously different when there's five on a court. Like, one player can have a
Hmm.
bigger impact on a result.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. But hey, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
I'd
Thank
love to
you
have
so
you
much
back
for
on
having me.
to talk actual
Yeah.
basketball sometime. That'd be
Oh
fun.
yeah. Of course. Of course. Always love that.
Yeah, yeah. But it's nighttime for you. You got any plans now?
Nah, I'm just chilling.
Yeah, nice.
Just chilling. Maybe gonna edit podcast. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see.
that's what I'm gonna do now. So
Yeah, love
yeah,
that. All
yeah.
right. Well, have a
All right,
good
sweet.
one. Thank you so much
You
for
too.
having me.
No, thank you for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
All right.
Sweet.
See ya.
See ya.